Welcome to Lions Draft Weekend from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Tori Petry. We are here on the red carpet ahead of tonight's event where there will be a new Detroit Lion added to the roster. On tonight's show, we will have plenty of analysis, sights and sounds from Nashville, and even a very special fan interview. But first, we caught up with a couple of analysts here in Nashville to find out who the Lions might take at pick number 8. Take a look. Tori Petry here in Nashville, Tennessee for the NFL Draft, and I am joined by NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah. Daniel, you have the Lions taking Jonah Williams in your final mock draft before today, at least. I'm sure you'll come out with one more before the draft starts. But why was Jonah Williams your pick?
Well, you just look at kind of a philosophy that you've built there and continue to invest in the line of scrimmage. And to me, he's one of the safer players in the draft. He's a plug-and-play guy. You look at him, somebody that could try him out at tackle if you wanted to, but he can come in right away and play at guard is where I think his best fit is. And they've really tried to do a nice job of running the ball a little bit better and be a little more secure and safe in pass protection. I think he helps you in both those roles. Inside a division, when you look at what Minnesota's going to throw at you with their front and you look at what the Bears are going to throw at you with their front, the Packers made a big investment in their front in the offseason. So continuing to fortify that offensive line, I think, could be a way they go.
It certainly wouldn't be unlike Bob Quinn to pick an offensive lineman in the first round. Why do you see Williams as a guard?
Well, look, to me, I just think some issues he has at tackle that show up at times with guys that kind of get into his chest a little bit. I don't think he'll have that same issue playing inside where everything's condensed. He can get on people right away, and he's got great balance. He's really good working up to the second level in the run game. I just think he's got a chance to be special as a guard. So I know some people take that as a slight, but I mean, we've got a long list of guys. When you look at Zach Martin's one of the best in the NFL, who was a tackle at Notre Dame and kicked in. You look at Sheriff and the job he's done with the Redskins tackle that's kicked inside. So I wouldn't take it as a slight at all. I'd say this guy's got a chance to be an outstanding guard.
If it's not Williams, what other needs do you see for the Lions at pick number 8?
Well, I think first of all, you look at trying to get out of there, try and trade out, which seems to be a potential there. They could get out of there. They've done more work on the corner position than any other position in the draft, but where their position, there's no corner to take there, in my opinion. Value-wise, you're not getting value. So if you're open to trading back, that to me points to the corner position and saying we can trade back and we can get a corner. Of course, you could stay there, and take another edge rusher, is always an option. But to me, I would say if you're asking me the most likely things to happen, number 1 is trade out and target a corner. Number 2 would be you stick and pick, and you'd probably take an offensive lineman.
If they go with a defensive end there, who do you think makes sense?
Well, Brian Burns is a name that you hear a lot. Now, he's not quite as firm and as strong as they traditionally play with on the edge, but he's got the versatility to be able to drop and do some different things. It's a little bit early for Farrell from Clemson, but he's a fantastic player who I think is a really good scheme fit. But that, again, is another one. Maybe you trade down a little bit.
You mentioned trading down.
Did I say trading down?
Yeah, a couple of times, but you also tweeted about it, that there were rumors swirling the Lions might trade down and take a quarterback. Yeah. What's with this?
That was to illustrate just how much stuff is flying around this time of year. And I kind of heard that, and I was like, get out of here. He's like, no, I'm telling you that's a problem. I'm like, okay. I don't see that happening. I don't think that will happen. But that's the kind of stuff when you're making these phone calls and talking to general managers and personnel directors around the league. It's swirling. Stuff is swirling. Let's just leave it at that.
So we're not putting any weight in the Lions taking a quarterback in the first round.
I've long said that anything you hear in the last week of the draft process, just plug your ears. You'll be better served.
Lots of smoke screens.
No question.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel. We appreciate it. Have the best draft night.
Yeah, good to see you.
I am joined by NFL Network's Charles Davis. Charles, the draft is in Tennessee this year. Your stomping grounds. What do you think of the draft location?
I love the draft location. I think Nashville's a great, vibrant city. Phenomenal people. Yes, I'm biased because I was born in the great state of Tennessee, and I played my college football in Knoxville, just down the road.
You had that Tennessee hat on. Hurts me a little as a Gator.
Listen, what hurts me is that we haven't beat you in a long time consistently, right? We got to win a couple of years ago, but bottom line is this is a great city, a great showcase for them. And I think it's great for the Titans as well. Gives them even better name recognition amongst the non-football people that are out there.
Let's dive into this draft. The Lions picking at number 8. What kind of needs do you see for them in this draft?
Well, for me, I still look at the defensive line, even though Trey Flowers was signed as a free agent. I know Romeo Okwara played pretty well for them last year, but depth and still being able to get another good edge rusher would be very nice for them. I also think they could look inside. One of the inside game wreckers wouldn't hurt them one bit. Imagine an Ed Oliver going in there and playing the inside for Matt Patricia.
Besides Snacks Harrison?
Besides Snacks Harrison, because remember, Snacks is much more of a first, second down guy. Although nowadays it's really first down. Second down, we're getting into nickel and sub packages anyway. So Ed Oliver being able to push the pocket, get upfield, make those kind of plays, that would be a big help for them. I think that linebackers want something I just keep hearing. I think you and I had a conversation a long time ago about different needs, and I think linebacker just keeps coming up, even though I know Jared Davis in the middle, I think has done a nice job for them. The top linebackers coming out, if you don't count Josh Allen as a linebacker, are inside guys. Devin White, Devin Bush. So that's a possibility for them. And I just think on the other side of the ball, Eric Ebron's name always comes up when you mention tight end. He's a good player, had his troubles in Detroit, went to the Pro Bowl last year in Indianapolis, still had some drops along the way, but his quarterback kept coming back to him. He made plays for him. Could a tight end be in order there? And last but not least, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they get out of 8 and accumulate some more picks.
We've certainly heard possibilities of the Lions trading back, but you mentioned that tight end possibility. How real is that for the Lions, and would it make sense to you, despite a lot of Lions fans might be questionable about that one?
It actually makes a ton of sense to me, because having Galladay out wide, being able to have the tight end to help out of Matthew Stafford, and by the way, big, not condolences at all, but well wishes to Kelly Stafford, to Matthew Stafford. I know she's been through a heck of a lot, but I'm sending all my best prayers, all my best wishes. I think all of us are, for her, fast and rapid return to full health, because I can't imagine going through what they've gone through as a family. And to see Matthew there every step of the way, not a surprise at all. Those two, they really know how to do it together as a couple. But anyway, back to the tight end. I think he would love to have that position, be able to throw the ball, have those great sight throws, as I call them, right in your line of vision. Bam, get the ball to a big guy, and off they go. And T.J. Hawkinson, probably on top of everyone's board from Iowa. Noah Fant, probably the number 2 tight end. Irv Smith from Alabama, probably 3. Hawkinson and Fant to me are in play right there at 8. Just see what their flavor might be.
Well, you talk about helping out Matthew Stafford, blocking for him up front could be a need for them as well after they don't have TJ Lang anymore. Could you see them addressing that in the first round? A lot of people have mentioned Jonah Williams, and does he fit in at guard and tackle?
Yeah, that would be a nice pick, because I think he's one of the better players out there, especially as an offensive lineman. I like him better inside than I do outside, but that doesn't mean he can't play outside. I think he can play out at the tackle and do just fine, but I think he could be special at guard. I kind of equate him to Brandon Sheriff coming out of Iowa, left tackle, now Pro Bowl guard. Zach Martin, now that's a big one, right? All-American left tackle, all-pro guard, right? 4 or 5 years running. So when you talk about that, I see the transition. I did have a conversation with Jonah at the Combine and mentioned that to him. I said, would you be averse to moving inside? He said, well, if you want to just move the best left tackle in the draft inside, go right ahead. So I know where his head is, and I actually admire that. Guy wants to show he can play left tackle, and I think that he can. I don't think there's any question. I think he'd be real special inside, and that fits what Detroit's looking for. Also, though, remember, it's a deeper draft for big guys. I think there are a lot of guards that will be available rounds 2, 3, and 4.
All right, your final mock draft, you have the Lions taking Ed Oliver. Why was that your pick?
Just seeing how my board fell with some of those big guys up front, and with Montez Sweat, who I liked earlier in this thing, but coming off the edge, I get the sense that he may last a little bit longer because of the medical condition. Ed Oliver somehow managing to get to 8 is a big deal, and I don't think you turn down guys like that. I think he can be a game wrecker inside. He may not be as heavy as you might want. I know the Aaron Donald comparison is there. I don't think he's as rich as Aaron Donald in terms of what we're doing. But if you give me Aaron Donald light, as I joked earlier, Aaron Donald was 20.5 sacks last year. You give me half of Aaron Donald, I got 10 sacks. I'll take that.
Thank you so much for your insight, Charles. Enjoy the rest of the draft.
Thank you. It's great to see you again, Tori.
Well, that's what Charles Davis and Daniel Jeremiah think here in Nashville. But what about our own guys back in Detroit? Mike O'Hara and Tim Twentyman are standing by to give you their thoughts on what might happen tonight. Guys?
Thanks, Tori. I'm Tim Twentyman. This is Mike O'Hara, and we are holding down the fort here at the Xfinity Studio in Allen Park. And Mike, the day is here.
Yeah, we got the names right. Now we're going to go for the mock draft. If I can go 1 through 8, that'll be a miracle.
All right, so Mike did release his mock draft, and so we're going to start this off by going through it right here. What do you think is going to go down when the draft starts tonight?
Well, I think a lot of people, too, when you start out with Kyler Murray, the quarterback from Oklahoma, going number 1. I think just about everybody has that. And then the next 4, to me, sort of set the tone of the top of the first round. I've got 4 straight players on defense. And look, chime in if you think I'm wrong, but not too loud, okay? But I start, with Bosa going with the 49ers at number 2. I'm back and forth on these next 2 with the Jets and the Raiders. I settled on Josh Allen, 17 sacks out of Kentucky, and then Quinnen Williams, although I think he's the best player in the draft, really the most talented player.
I think those are interchangeable.
And then here the one, a dagger in the heart to me, because this would be my dream pick for the Detroit Lions. Devin White, the linebacker from LSU, I think it'd be a great pairing with Jared Davis, but so do the Bucs, and they've got him. Then the next quarterback to me, the New York Giants, Dwayne Haskins of Ohio State. Guys, if you're looking for a successor to Eli Manning, how do you pass up 50 touchdown passes? I don't think you do. I don't think you should.
And only 8 picks to go with that,
and only
too.
8 picks to go. And he's just got a sense, just a feel for the game. Mm-hmm. Number 7, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, a lot of people say T.J. Hawkinson. I think it's a great pick, the tight end from Iowa. I got Juwan Taylor, the offensive tackle from Florida.
And that's a popular one because that's a big need for them.
And then we come to number 8.
Number 8.
And let's forget the drum roll. I'll go straight to it. And it's Montez Sweat, the pass rusher from Mississippi State. Great combine, production to match, 22 sacks. But I've also got 5 or 6 options. Before I get to those, one is a trade. Of those 5 or 6 players who might go there, Tim, where would you put a trade? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the top or at the bottom?
Either 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if there's a player at the top of the board who's head and tails above the rest of the guys in terms of the grade, I think you make the pick. If there's a group of guys that are similarly graded and you've got an offer to move down a spot, still grab one of those guys, I think you move down. So it depends on how their board plays out.
Yeah, and I like Montez Sweat, but I like Rashawn Gary of Michigan, not quite as much. Ed Oliver of Houston, I like him probably as much as I like Montez Sweat. Brian Burns, a pass rusher from Florida State, like him almost as much as Montez Sweat, but a little light. 242 pounds was his playing weight. Might be down to 235. Can he really hold up in a National Football League? Hawkinson's one of my options there. I like T.J. Hawkinson. And as you all know out there, there's room for another T.J. We're low on one. And then the trade. And, boy, I'll tell you what, it'd be hard to resist going down 2, 3, 4 spots and picking up one of those players.
And getting a second-round pick.
And getting a second-round pick, sure.
In a draft that's very deep, especially at some positions of need for the Lions. Interior offensive line. You mentioned some of the pass rushers. Even wide receiver once you get into day 2 and 3. Those are needs, and this is a deep draft for those positions, so it makes sense to move back. But let's get into some of those positions. You had the pass rusher, so let's get into that a little bit. And when you talk about Montez Sweat, I think the one thing that stuck out to me was I was at the Senior Bowl, and I was at the Senior Bowl in 2013 as well when a guy named Aaron Donald dominated it. And Montez Sweat dominated in a similar fashion. Now, I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald. I'm just saying he treated that event like Aaron Donald did, in that he was really unblockable with a mixture of speed and power, and I thought he really stood out.
Look, I like to watch athletes. That's why I watch a lot of track and field. But in football, I like athletes who produce. And he what I say is he backed up his production on the field with his combine workout instead of vice versa.
Now, I know you did your mock. Is there any situation at all where Josh Allen, a guy who's kind of my dream pick to fall down, maybe things get crazy with the quarterbacks, you never know, stuff happens, but I just think he is a plug-and-play player at a bunch of different spots. It was funny, I woke up today and I was thumbing through the TV, and I just so happened to catch a Missouri-Kentucky game, and the first play I saw was Allen coming around the edge and stripping Drew Lock of the ball, and a few plays later, he was chasing down a screen pass 15 yards downfield. And so I just think that's the kind of ability he brings. Is there any chance? Is there any hope, Mike?
Well, first of all, we have different viewing habits first thing in the morning. And second of all, 17 sacks. I do a lot of things for you, but I just can't do that.
No.
Just can't do it. I'll tell you one thing. You talked about like Paris Campbell, a wide receiver from Ohio State. With the Lions at 8 or 12 or 13 if they trade down, what about the possibility of trading back up into the first round and getting a player like that because you get him for 5 years?
You get the fifth-year option.
You get the fifth-year option.
Now, you mentioned your heart broke at number 5.
Devin
with
White.
Devin White, the linebacker. He's a guy that I think could be there. I just think with how that situation goes with the pass rushers, I think there's a chance he could be there, so your heart might not be broken. But what do you like about Devin White? And I would throw Devin Bush in there, too, the
Devin
linebacker
Bush
from Michigan.
too.
I think they're two similarly, style players.
Well, I like Devin White. Just again, another guy had a great combine, but production in college football at LSU. Just a tremendous player, and you put him side by side with Jared Davis. I wouldn't want to be a running back all of a sudden got through the gap, because there would be a race between the two of them to cold cock you.
I'm playing behind that defensive line, and this is a scheme that allows their linebackers to flow freely, to make plays. We saw that with Jared Davis last year, over 100 tackles and 6 sacks. He was one of only 2 linebackers to do that. And when I look at today's NFL, teams were in sub packages, nickel, dime, 73% of the time last year. So this isn't a base defense league anymore. You need guys that can run, cover, and when you're talking in the nickel package, linebackers that can do that, I think, are a huge asset in today's game.
My first reaction to Devin Bush was, come on, just a Michigan guy. Get off at the Walmart Wolverines and all that. But the more you look at him, the more I like him. And the other part of it is what Bob Quinn, the general manager, said last week in his annual pre-draft press conference. He said, look, in this day and age, it's the old Bill Parcells line, you can only take what the colleges give you. And the game in college football has morphed into more of the open passing, the spread offenses. And you need guys who are light, fast, quick, and can tackle to defend them 75% of the time. That has Devin Bush's name all over it. 11, 12, 13 off the board. If Devin White's gone, I would not be disappointed if they took Devin Bush.
All right, one last one before we toss it back to Tori in Nashville.
Let's just keep talking.
T.J. Hawkinson, the tight end. I throw Noah Fant in there, the kid from Alabama, Smith Jr., too. And so is that a possibility at 8, and what do you like about T.J.?
What I like about T.J. Hawkinson is that he's a good tight end. He's a balanced-out football player. He can block, he can run, he's accountable, he's steady. Look, I've heard people say, they couldn't take another tight end because of Eric Ebron. Well, if Eric Ebron wasn't good enough, then why not take a better tight end? It's logical to me.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think it fits this
system. It fills a need.
It fills a need, and they need one. Look, Jesse James, I think we haven't seen the ceiling with him, but I think you need more than one tight end, and especially in Darrell Bevel's team, it allows you to run those 2 tight end sets, and I think, they want to have the ability to do that. And it's not just the passing game with him, too. He's one of the better tight ends in terms of his run blocking I've seen coming into the draft in a long, long time. I mean, he dominates guys at the line of scrimmage. If you're trying to be a balanced football team, you're trying to run the ball more, you get a guy like that on the edge, he helps you in that aspect as well.
Well, I'm going to try and be technical here. This is about all I know, but he's an inline blocker. Did I say that right?
You said it right.
And so the number of things you can do with him when you break the huddle, the defense can't just automatically substitute for him because you don't know what he's going to do. If you bring your same personnel back out there on third down that you had on second down, and he's versatile enough to do that, it gives you an edge over their defense.
So we've covered a lot of different guys. The Lions probably don't draft any of them with how this goes.
Am I going to go 0 for 8 again?
But we covered it. That's a lot of different guys, and we'll obviously see what happens tonight. It should be fun here in Allen Park, and let's toss it back to Tori in Nashville. She's got more from there.
Thanks so much, guys. It has been a busy week here in Nashville, and one Lions fan has gotten to experience it firsthand. Lions fan Hannah Pearson is one of 3 finalists across the entire NFL for the NFL's Tickets for 100 Years contest. The winner will be announced later on tonight, but if she wins, she will win season tickets for her and her family for 100 years. I caught up with Hannah earlier this week to talk to her about this special honor. Hannah, what an amazing opportunity for you. First of all, tell me how you became a Lions fan.
Sure. So my grandfather started cheering for the Lions back in the 1930s. So it's been an 85-year family tradition rooting on the Lions. And I'm here representing them at the draft this year.
What has this week been like for you?
It's been incredible. The NFL has been so amazing and generous. This is really the culmination of the contest. And we've had a chance to celebrate the Lions and celebrate this exciting time as we add a new player to the team.
What have you gotten to do this week here in Nashville?
Yeah, it's been incredible. We started today with Good Morning America, where they shared that all 3 of us as finalists will get season tickets to our team for this upcoming year, which is just an incredible opportunity and honor for me. And then we've spent the day just exploring Nashville and all that the city has to offer. It's an incredible experience.
So you told me you live in Alabama and you got season tickets already for this year. You could win 100 years worth of season tickets. What would you do with them if you got them?
Absolutely. It would be amazing. I live in Alabama, so the chance to see them in person and celebrate them in Ford Field with the rest of the Lions fan would just be an incredible opportunity for my family.
And then if you have 100 years worth of them, what happens to them?
Exactly. So I have a 6-month-old Samuel, and he is the sweetest little baby, and the opportunity to pass this legacy on to him means more than anything I can say. And so I know that one day he and his children will get to go to Lions games in the future.
How are you feeling about the moment tonight where they announce who wins?
I'm so excited. I can't believe we're so close to it. I'm just so full of excitement.
Best of luck. We hope you win.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Go Lions!
Well, here's hoping Hannah is able to take home the prize later on tonight. Of course, it wouldn't be a visit to Nashville without getting out there and experiencing all that Music City has to offer. We spent some time doing that earlier this week, so we will close out our show and leave you with the sights and sounds from Nashville. This is Broadway in Nashville, Tennessee. This street is always filled with bar goers and country music lovers, but this week it is all about the NFL Draft. Draft picks will walk across that stage behind me, and draft fans will have their pick of entertainment along this famous road. It's a lively spot for this year's event, so let's take a look at the sights and sounds around Nashville. Looking forward to seeing who the Lions pick come Thursday night.